Ladies and gentlemen, this did not happen. Okay, this did not happen. The quotes associated with President Trump and his desire to mitigate hurricanes, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. Okay? From here on out, whether it's Axios or the New York Times or the Washington Post or CNN, they're going to run stories just like they did all throughout the Mueller probe and all throughout the Russia hysteria that he worked with Putin to hack the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. This is all to pave the way for Clinton 2020. I've been telling you, and I'll be right about this, and I am right about this. We know that they're sending, check out my segment yesterday, we know that they're sending emails. Hey, Hillary was cheated by Russia. Do you think she should run? By the way, come to the $50,000 a plate dinner. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. It's heating up. I'm a little bit more myself there, but I'm working with an issue with that channel, but I'll get that. I'll be victorious and get that taken care of, but he didn't say those, the comments, and I'll get to the comments that are attributed to President Trump regarding hurricanes. The usual suspects are running with this. Oh my God, they're so giddy. They just want to paint Trump into the character. They want to create an alternate President Trump, somebody who's not presiding over an economy with record low unemployment, somebody who wasn't the first president to step foot in North Korea and begin détente and a peace deal between North and South Korea. They want to ignore the fact that he signed prison reform legislation. They want to ignore the fact that he wants to bring home American soldiers from theaters of conflict. They want to ignore all of these things. They want to ignore the fact that wages are going up. They want to pretend that there's going to be, or they want to predict or, speak into existence a recession because the economy is doing well. They don't want to acknowledge the good things that he's doing in trying to address the $400+ billion trade deficit with China. They do not want to look at Trump as the president of the United States. They want to look at him as a nightmare. They're living a nightmare, and unfortunately, they run the narrative, the media narrative. CNN, MSNBC, Hollywood, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they're all I'm with her forever until she loses again. Then they'll abandon ship. Already you're seeing millennials, and she's awesome. Shoe on head. She has a channel of one over 1 million subs, and she came out with a segment yesterday. A tweet yesterday regarding. So there's a chance Hillary might join the race, and I'm losing my mind. Should Hillary run in Hillary considering 2020 run? Should Hillary run for president in 2020? Friends, we're still reeling from the 2016 presidential election, even though Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by almost 3 million votes. Yet she outspent Trump 2-1. Donald Trump won because of Russian interference, because the Russians informed the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Really? Oh my God. We don't think that's fair. What if Hillary had another shot? Okay, look, she's running again. Okay? There's nothing anyone can do about it. And I've been telling you since 2017. But why do you think they're doing this? Why do you think they're attributing comments to Trump that he almost certainly never stated? And I'm going to go with the fact that he never stated this. Scoop. This is Axios. Trump suggested nuking hurricanes to stop them from hitting the U.S. No, he didn't. How do we know this? President Trump has suggested multiple times to senior Homeland Security and National Security advisors that they explore using nuclear options to stop hurricanes from hitting the United States, according to sources who have heard the president's private remarks and been briefed on National Security Council memorandum that recorded those comments. What? According to sources who have heard the president's private remarks, these sources are either lying or they are unnamed I'm with her people within Trump's administration, or they're just, or Axios and the journalists at Axios, the New York Times does this all the time. Or they heard from somebody who knew somebody who was somebody's close acquaintance that is a source that Trump said this. But the next part is hilarious. And have been briefed on what? Been briefed on a national security memorandum that recorded those comments? So they didn't read the National Security Council memorandum that recorded the comments, because guess what? They would be classified. Yeah. Somebody's leaking classified information. Oh well. You know, contrary to popular belief on the left, President Trump is actually the president of the United States of America. You cheated Bernie Sanders, you lost, and you will lose again with Hillary Clinton, and you're going to then descend into a never-ending pit of madness and despair. And the rest of the country and the world will just look at you, stunned and with amusement, and it'll be frightening. How the left and how the Democratic Party respond will be frightening. It could be a good thing. They might respond when they lose in 2020 and say, okay, my God, we've been duped by our own hubris, by our own allegiance to two people, Bill's extension and Madam Secretary who runs the show. We've been duped. And whether it's the influence from the Clinton Foundation or from decades of just manipulating the media and manipulating liberals. Anyway, we can go on forever regarding why there is no Democratic Party and why two people pretty much run the show and why she'll run again and lose again. Clinton's going to run again and lose again. But this is a despicable, nasty type of journalistic. This is the type of article, and no offense to the author, and no offense to Axios, but there's no evidence here. You can make this this is gossip and hearsay. This is not journalism. There's no chance in the world that Trump is going to launch anything towards a hurricane. This is meant only to disparage President Trump and demean and erase all the accomplishments. Look, President Obama, the brilliant and amazing and talented and wonderful and super, super intelligent President Obama, didn't even know that his own Secretary of State for 4 years was using a private server with top secret and special access program intelligence being stored and received and sent from her servers outside of the United States government. Yeah. And you never heard from either President Obama or his predecessors. You never heard gossip and hearsay. Oh, the president said this. You just have to trust us. This never happened with previous administrations. It never happened. It is not journalism. This is like not even the National Enquirer. This is something else. And Axios does good work. And it's nothing against the author of this article, but this is like a feeding frenzy for the usual suspects. You can just look. I'm not going to go. Anyone repeating this lie, this nonsense, because they don't like Trump. Did President Obama start the peace process between North and South Korea? And if the rebuttal is, well, nothing's changed, everything's changed. Everything's changed for the better. Now, are there obstacles? Sure. Is there a great economy now? Yeah, objectively, it's a good economy. The only thing they could say is that, well, there'll be a downturn and it might be a recession. There's not going to be 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. It ain't going to happen. For why? Where is the bubble? Is there a real estate bubble? No. Are there loans being given out based on nonsense? No. Is it a stock market bubble? Well, I mean, the stock market, it's gone way up, and now there's a correction. So, I mean, what do you want? Not everything is going to be perfect. But we have record low unemployment. We have record low Black and Latino unemployment. And the rebuttal there is like, it's really interesting to hear the rebuttals for that one. That's a good thing. There's nothing bad about that. There's actually only good about that. There's only good. Trump is a good president. And if they say, oh, he's a buffoon and da-da-da, why did they lose? They have to make themselves feel good, and they've had this epic temper tantrum for years. Behind the scenes, during one hurricane briefing at the White House, Trump said, I got it. Why don't we? And then, suggesting the headline, according to one source who was there. How do we know this is even accurate? This is like, this feeds into the belief. Like, people will believe this just like they believe the Steele dossier. Well, sure, he'd like bodily fluids raining down upon him. Of course he would. That's just what he likes. No, it's what Bill Clinton likes. It might be what Hillary likes. Who knows? But they believe the Steele dossier, which is completely debunked, which was used to break the law regarding FISA applications by Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, all of them. And it's like, according to one source, they start forming up the... The source added, paraphrasing the president's remarks. Yeah, paraphrasing the president's remarks. They have no context of this. It's meant to just make him look horrible. Asked how the briefer reacted, the source called something, sir, we'll look into that. Trump replied by asking incredulously how many hurricanes the U.S. could handle. And reiterating the suggestion that the government intervene before they make landfall. Look. The briefer was knocked back on his heels. Don't you love this nauseating hubris, this arrogance? Oh my goodness. How could he be so stupid? It's like, you lost. Oh, you can go ahead and wallow in your misery and wonder how the country could elect somebody so out of touch with reality. But guess what? Democrats and media are the real people out of touch with reality. They lost. That's why I love sports. You get a winner and a loser. And the loser has to lick his wounds and come back and hopefully be victorious next time by trying harder or by learning his mistakes. But Democrats, they benefit from failure because they have a giant pillow called a cushion called the media. That is not, look, the media has already done itself in. Most people don't trust the media. But again, people were astonished. After the meeting ended, we thought, what do we do with this? And then there's profanity here and vulgar, Trump also raised the idea in another conversation. How do we know? A source briefed the NSC memo, said, the source added, the sources said that Trump's hurricane idea, which he floated earlier in the first year and had been his presidency before John Bolton took over. Look. Whether there's a glimmer of truth into this or whether it's completely taken out of context, where were the private discussions about when President Obama drank Flint water? Where were after 3 weeks, National Geographic published an article titled, where were the private discussions? Where was Axios and where was the New York Times or the Washington Post? Maybe Axios wasn't around then. I think it was. What about the private discussions and always use whataboutism? You know, the left is like, what's called whataboutism? Yeah, it's called hypocrisy. The left doesn't know what hypocrisy means. Because look, if you had private discussions regarding President Obama drinking Flint water, I want to hear those. That would be nice. You had the DNC emails warped in the minds of people because they said, oh my God, the truth about us. The Democrats saw the DNC emails and they said the truth about us is out in the open. Now we have to fabricate everything about Trump in the form of sources that are unknown, unnamed, and will never be exposed. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that convenient? Look, this is a disgusting, nasty attempt that doesn't work. The themes that Democrats have relied on since 2015, the same themes that didn't work in 2016, they think if they just run Clinton again, which they will because she runs, there's only two people that run the show. There is no Democratic Party. I keep saying that. Nobody listens. There's no Democratic Party. It does not exist. The left does not exist. There is no left in the United States of America. It's two people, and then everyone who thinks that there's a movement, which there isn't. It's a giant bowel movement. And only two people are relieving themselves. But anyway, on the left. But anyway, the same themes that they continually harp on. Oh, well, Trump is a racist, and he's unhinged, and he's unstable. Then they have these psychiatrists. I can't believe this. I can't even get into it. They have these psychiatrists on CNN. It's like, first of all, if you're a psychiatrist, if you're a psychologist, if you're a therapist, if you're any person who is evaluating an individual you do not know based on their media perception or quotes taken out of context, or a politician, and you're saying this person has psychological issues, you're the one who should lose your license. You're the one who should completely never practice again. This is, look, it doesn't work. They're trying to make him this unstable, unhinged madman. It didn't work in 2015. He won. They said he was racist then. They said he was unstable. They said he was unpredictable. They said he was this and that. It didn't work. It didn't work. Because the epitome of normality to them is Hillary Clinton. So it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You cannot, look, the sensibilities of the Twitter liberal are not the sensibilities of the average American. The average American laughs at the Twitter liberal. The average American mocks and laughs and under their breath, or, their thoughts are, they denigrate the morally right, the pseudo, how should I say this? The people on the left who feel that they're morally virtuous or righteous or superior to other people, Trump supporters, independents, whatever, the average American looks at them and very much opposes that idea and laughs. And the way the left works is like, don't listen to this person. He's a horrible human being. They try to attack the messenger. That doesn't work either. They use every failed tactic. They're completely irrational in how they counter their political opponents. And their irrationality is actually causing them to lose political influence and power. And they don't realize it. They really think that they're riding high. They really think the future. They're gonna dictate the future. They're not. They're not. The Democratic Party of today, with the Twitter mania on the left, that is not going to be what we see 3 to 4 or 5 years from now. This is like an aberration in political history. Because you could look back even in the 2016 election, and it wasn't this bizarre on the left. They weren't this bizarre. Not everything. The outrage culture has reached 11 on the scale of 1 to 10. So, nobody cares what, people think of President Trump. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And it's unbelievable how they never stop. And they're going to continue. Look, they're going to say that Trump said a racial slur right before the election. It's going to be the same type of articles, according to people familiar. Oh my God, they were floored. They couldn't believe it. They were stunned. They were, flabbergasted, all of these things. It ain't going to work. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. It's a more uncensored, unfiltered, raw version of me. And ladies and gentlemen, check out my segments today. He did not, let's just go with, since there's no evidence that he said anything, there's no quote, let's just go with he never said it. Because you know what? Almost certainly. First of all, you can't say somebody said something without any evidence. So I'm not going to trust any sources from media that had it in on Trump from day one. Okay? Secondly, even if there was some accuracy in the allegation, you don't know the context. You don't know what he asked prior. You don't know the information he was given. So it's like this feeds into the liberal notion, oh, we're so much smarter. Well, if you're so much smarter, then why'd you lose? Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right this second. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below in the pinned comment. Thank you.